and go.
There's no time for Generation Z or our generation to just breathe. We're always trying to live up to the extraordinary expectations that our parents, peers, communities, coaches, and teachers have for us. This could be a large factor in the increase of anxiety and depression in today's students, both in high school and in college. We look to our peers and we see that we're behind them or ahead of them and compare ourselves to them. We have poor self-image because we don't look like the girl that's on Instagram or look like that guy that's walking around that all the girls stare at. It's just, we always compare ourselves. We don't feel good enough compared to the next person. I'm Stacey Faverty, and today I'm going to share with you about how students are exposed to higher expectations, and this can lead to anxiety and depression. Three main causes of this are social media, which we all use, classroom demands, and sports. Social media will be the first one. When we use social media, we're comparing ourselves to our peers. We look at them, we see where they're at, we see where we're at. Many of my friends from high school, they just graduated. However, I'm here for another 2 years. So I'm going to automatically compare myself to them because I'm not good enough, I'm not where they are. Aaron Smith and Monica Anderson, who both have master's degrees in psychology, did research with Pew Research Center. They found that 71% of teens have smartphones, and they use them on a daily basis. When we meet new friends on the weekend or at school, we don't ask for their phone number anymore. We ask for their Snapchat. It's real quick, you scan it, and now you have Snapchat and you have a new friend. Sometimes you can kind of feel inferior because someone has more Snapchat friends than you. Their Snapchats are always blowing up. Social media can also cause depression. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, Facebook depression is a real thing. It quotes that Facebook can make kids feel inadequate due to the in-your-face friend tallies, status updates, and pictures that are constantly being posted and viewed. Many students post only positives on social media because, who wants to feel vulnerable? So those status updates, those Instagram pictures, and those tweets, they're most likely going to be about positive things that are going on in life. Next place where we have high expectations is the classroom. There are many stressors that are involved in the classroom, especially for students today. Many begin college work in high school, some as early as the 8th grade. This puts those students ahead of their peers. This leaves some students being a whole semester or a whole year ahead whenever they finally do start college. When I graduated from Stark State, there were about 80 students who had completed one degree, if not 2 degrees, before they ever graduated high school. They were automatically 2 years ahead of their peers. Now, there are benefits to this. You save money because normally your high school pays for that, and you're not going to have to pay for those first 2 years. Saves you some time because you're going to graduate quicker or have a lighter course load when you're in college. And if you want to go get your master's, you can get it done quicker. But the transition from high school to college isn't exactly easy. There are many academic challenges that come with college. There's changes in your independence. You now have to make sure your clothes are washed. You have to make sure you eat. Your parents are not there telling you everything you need to do. You also get separated from your friends that you've known forever, as well as your family members. Dr. Helen Egger from NYU Longhorn Health Department Child and Adolescent Psychiatrist says that the first year students that feel overwhelmed in school has doubled. And the number of students that have sought out counseling and psychological services has went up by 1/3. These are some downfalls to starting college early because your emotional stability might not be there yet. And being able to deal with the rigorous class load that college puts on you can be stressful. Such as classes like these, we've had discussions about controversial topics such as rape, drugs, sex, and suicide. This might be a class that would be a little harder for someone in high school to sit and talk through and be able to fully understand. This could cause students to become anxious because if you're not really comfortable with the topic and you don't know how to voice that, or they could become depressed because if something like this happened to you and you can't speak up, you're automatically going to start feeling down. These students could come into college early and fail, causing them to have worse mental illness. Sports are often played in school for either fun or for scholarship. Many students go to college on a sports scholarship. Athletes are held to high expectations in more areas than just the classroom and social media. Their parents, their coaches, their teammates, their peers, and the community all hold them to very high expectations. And they're not expected to just excel at their sport, they're expected to excel at school. When they're at home, they're still expected to help around at home. If they work, they're expected to also be at work, and they're supposed to excel at work. They also have to maintain a positive life image. So if someone from the community looks at them, they need to be positive, according to everyone. Like you look at an athlete and they should automatically be positive. But however, they might start to compare themselves. When you leave high school and go to college, there's a whole different competitiveness there. And looking at the athlete next to you that came from a different school, you're gonna start comparing yourself to them, especially if you can't keep up when you thought you could. They become anxious because you don't know if you fit in and you don't know if you belong. And that can lead to athletes feeling anxiety and depression. Our generation is expected to be on the go all the time. You're expected to go to school, go to work, participate in extracurricular activities. You're expected to be with your friends, join a sorority or fraternity most of the time when you're at college, and you're still expected to somehow make time to do your homework, make new friends, and go home and see your family. Those could be difficult things to do. This can cause students, especially in Generation Z, to feel that the expectations that are held for them are much higher than the expectations that are expected from their parents. Our parents, they didn't do College Credit Plus in high school. They started college when they graduated high school if they went to college. This can be stressful. Many of these things that I have discussed add a lot of stress to college students as well as high school students. That high school athlete that's trying to get into college because they can't afford to go without a scholarship, they're going to stress themselves out. They're going to practice as much as they can so they can be the best they can be. The fear of failing causes all of us to push ourselves to the limit. We continue to push ourselves even though we know it's too much. We stay up way too late. We don't eat healthy. And we might do some things that we shouldn't do because we're stressed. We don't know what else to do. We don't know where else to turn. And that can push students to developing mental illness such as anxiety and depression. I hope that everyone understands that just because you might not be keeping up with your peers on social media, because you might not be as good as the person next to you in the locker room, and you might not be as smart as the student sitting next to you at the desk, you still meet the expectations that are required. Because if not, we wouldn't be in college today. Thank you.